Get the burpees out. Evening, folks. Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're all well and safe. Tonight we are welcoming. You say it.
Welcoming John.
Hi. Nice to meet
Sam,
everyone.
I never asked you to speak, Sam. Welcome. We're saying hello to John. All right, that's what we're doing. John is our latest victim from south of the border. He joined us about 3 days ago. So we thought we better have a wee meet John night. But as you can see, I've got my usual co-host with me, the trusty Sarah, and then obviously Sam's here as normal. Evening, Sam.
Evening.
So I would say it's a pleasure to meet you, John, but I've already met you, so you know that's a bit hogwash, really, you know what I mean? So obviously everybody's going to want to know all about you. Yeah. So how did you, usual first question, what's your bank details and PIN number?
You've tried to do this already, Scott, and I think you'll have to go with the next one.
We'll get him next time.
I'm just going to keep on recruiting people then until I find one person who'll do it. Before you know, there'll be about 40 years. You know what I mean? And I'll get somebody. I'll get somebody. Hey, Mr. Cat. Hey, Angelina. And hey, Paranormal History. And there's Joe as well. Eventually, you know what I mean? 4 minutes late.
Nice of you to turn up.
Well, it's only 4 minutes. That's quite good for me, isn't it? Really, 4 minutes.
Well, yeah.
True. As long as I'm on time tomorrow. As long as I'm on time tomorrow, that's all that matters, right?
I'm buying Joe for a birthday. A bloody watch.
Aye, that's true. I was going to say that.
I've got one, but I can't find it. Lost it.
You lost your watch?
That explains it.
Aye.
I'm used to like witches and sundials and trying, by the sun. I'm not joking. I don't go that far, but no.
I would do that, but we live in Scotland, so sundials. There's no point in using them. You know what I mean? Justin.
Solar lights as well. Only come on once a year.
Aye, solar lights. That's only because you had a torch up above them to charge them during the day. Then they work at night. They don't believe me. They think I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding on, honestly.
I've got solar panels and I need to do that too.
I can't remember the last time my shorts came out the cupboard. Seriously. Distant memory now. Anyway, back to the focus of tonight. John's bank details. Still not getting it. Still not getting it.
Do you think Joe's bank details either?
Aye, but you know, what can I say?
I think you're disappointed with my account anyway, Scott.
I don't care if it's 2 pence. I just want somebody to give it up. That's what I want. You know what I mean? I just want somebody. Hey, Laura. Aye, so anyway, you put me off track now. Everybody wants to know about John. So, John, tell us about John.
Okay. Well, I guess I should start with the paranormal side and why I'm interested in it. Would that be a good avenue?
That would be a good starting point, yes.
Cool. Right, well, I've always been interested in the paranormal. My earliest memory of anything like that was when I was about 8. And I remember waking up in the night and could feel the weight of someone sat on the end of my bed. And looked, and there was a boy sat on my bed, probably a couple of years older than me, maybe. And I was wide awake completely. I remember it so clearly. And it sounds cliche, but he kind of had a kind of glow as well. So I knew that he wasn't normal, and that's just stuck with me forever. And I wasn't scared either. I went straight back to sleep. So who that was, I don't know, but that is the first memory that I've ever had. And I've lived in various houses where things have happened. My dad's house that he inherited off his mum, my grandma. I don't know who was haunting that house, but whoever it was would move things around. My dad would blame me because he didn't believe in any of it. He had a ceramic duck in his ensuite bathroom that he used to keep on the cistern of his toilet, and every day it was on his toilet seat. And he used to blame me for putting it there, and I was like, ain't me. I know it's not me. I used to find pine cones under my pillow from the potpourri.
Ooh.
In that same house as well, I remember being in bed one night trying to get to sleep. I heard all of the motions of a stair lift chair being unfolded, sat on, activated, coming up the stairs, somebody getting off it, and then folded back again. And that stair lift was removed by my dad within a few weeks of him moving into that house. So it's one of those where you think, is that real, or am I imagining that? And I was really expecting somebody to come through the bedroom door, and but yeah, it's things like that that kind of make you think I'm either really crazy or that's actually happening. So yeah, that was clear as a bell, and things like that have just really spiked my interest over the years as well. I saw my pop as well, who passed away. Saw him, complete apparition. So did my younger brother and my nan, all on the same day, which was pretty amazing. And with that, I was playing on the PlayStation with my younger brother upstairs in my nan's house. Bedroom door was wide open. I clocked somebody walked past it, but I thought it was my nan because we were engrossed in our game. But then I didn't hear anyone go down the stairs, and I thought, oh, I'll go see if she's all right, actually, because I don't know how she's got down the stairs. Went downstairs. Before I'd even said a word, my nan just turned around to me in her chair and went, "He's just come through here." And every hair on me just stood up, and I said, "Who's just come through here?" She went, "Your pop, he's just come through here. He's always around. I see him all the time." And I thought, nah. It was very difficult to believe. And my younger brother had seen that person walk past as well. And for my nan to beat me to it before I'd even asked her if she'd been upstairs, that's what she came out with. And the next neighbour had seen him in the window as well one day. So he was clearly very active in that house. So yeah, just loads of things like that. Really, I've seemed to attract it. I don't know if that's a bit cliche as well, where you kind of feel like you attract these things.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you all feel like that as well?
You must be quite open to it for it to happen, and that's quite special, actually, that you've experienced it as much with something like that, because there's people out there that crave it for years and years and years and get nothing. So that's actually really, really special that you've had that and that you've seen that, and so's your granny. It'd give you peace of mind as well that he's all right. Yeah,
definitely. It's
even though it's a bit freaky at times, but even still, it's still good.
I mean, I used to be terrified. I'm not so much now. I kind of feel like I know a bit more about the spirit world, and I'm not frightened of it as much now. There was another house that I lived in when my nan passed away, and it was a council house. So I had a month to get out because they wouldn't let me have the tenancy. I had to find a house for me, a German Shepherd, a blind budgerigar, 2 rabbits, and an aquarium within a month.
Sorry, that you talk about cliches. That's a good one. That's a good one. We'll take everybody, but not the budgie.
Yeah. So I found a house. I couldn't afford it at the time. My best friend said she'd help me out, so we moved into it. Now that house had an amazing feel to it. It was a bit run down, but it felt lovely, nice vibe. It was January when we moved there, and we commented about how easy it was to keep warm as well. It was a really cozy house. As we went through into the next winter, we realized we couldn't keep the house warm anymore. Even with the heating on full blast, the radiators were scalding hot. It was always cold, and we'd be sat in the living room with blankets and things like that. and it just felt like there was an atmosphere in the house as well, which was really weird. I should actually say, when we moved in, this is quite important to the story. I was putting boxes up in the loft, and there was nothing up there at all other than a chair right over in the corner of the loft. And next to that chair on the wall was a shelf, which was a bit weird for me. It was kind of like somebody sat there and used the shelf for things while they were sat there, but put it out of my mind, didn't think about it again. So we were going into the winter again. I was on an overnight shift at work, and my friend texted me, and it said, "I'm sacred." And I was like, what the hell is she going on about? And I thought, oh, she's got an ego complex or something. So what I didn't realize was she meant to write scared, and
right.
she'd packed her bags and gone to her parents because the loft hatch had come crashing down while she was in bed. And it was a loft hatch that you have to twist the mechanism to open it, not a push up and down jobby.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
It should not have just fallen down. That actually kept happening quite frequently until we duct taped it up, because I was like, I can't deal with this. You're trying to sleep at night and the loft hatch would just go poof like that.
I would have been out of there.
And it wasn't as if it fell. There was an impact sound as well. So it was like a boom and it would come down.
Like it was pushed.
Yeah. And my dog, that's how it felt, yeah. And my dog as well, she was going crazy in that house every now and then. She would just kick off at nothing. Like she would just go off on one, looking as though she can see somebody that's not there. And I thought, oh, okay. Now, not long after all of this started kicking off, my landlord phoned me and said, oh, I'm really sorry, John. We're going to have to end the tenancy at some point because my dad's just died, who owned the house. And I was like, when did he die? And it was all coinciding with that. So he'd been in a home and they were looking after the property for him and renting it out and everything.
Oh.
So I kind of feel like he passed away, went back to the home that he was happy in, realised there was two strangers there.
Didn't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what happened, this is the weirdest part for me of this whole year in this house, was when we were moving out, I was getting boxes down from the loft and the chair was directly over the hatch. And we never went up there. Never.
How could that have happened? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't have been able to get out if you'd put that over the hatch.
Yeah. I don't know what that chair was about. I had weird vibes with that chair when we moved in, and then when I saw that it was over the loft hatch, that was it. I was down the ladder and I said to my brother, I was like, oh, would you mind getting some boxes out of the loft, please? So yeah.
So if you're John's brother and you're watching this, there was no chair. There was nothing untoward about that. He genuinely needed your help.
Yeah, I never told him that. He would not have gone up there.
No.
For sure.
What type of chair was it, John?
It was like an old-fashioned school chair. So like 4 legs and just like a straight back. It was that in itself was also a bit weird for me. I thought, why would you have like it didn't make sense, and the shelf on the wall next to it as well. I thought, who sits there and who uses the shelf? It's a bloody loft. It just
It might not always have been a loft.
Well,
yeah,
that is true. That is true. I didn't think about that.
I am known to hide in the cupboard under my stairs, away from my children. Maybe they chose an attic instead.
Yeah, they could well have. Yeah, because I just imagine somebody
moments with a chocolate bar. But that's weird. That's weird. That is weird.
The first thing that I thought when I saw that little setup was somebody sitting there with a cup of tea. That's kind of how I felt. I thought, don't make sense, but there you are. And then I moved to the house that I'm in now, and it's been completely fine up until that autumn last year. And lights have been doing really odd things in this house recently, like switched on when they're off, and I mean the switch has been gone on, not just
Right.
the bulb. Bedside table lamp behind me. I went to sleep with it on one night, woke up in pitch blackness, and I thought, oh, I must have switched it off. Now, the next day, I actually had a reading with Charlotte because I'd got in touch with her, interested in her from Paranormal and History when I'd seen her on here.
Good.
And Charlotte, there's no way she could have known about the lights in my house because I haven't really told anybody other than my mum. No way would I post anything like that on Facebook or anything.
Yeah.
She said to me, oh, the lights in your house, that's your nan. And I was like, what? And she said, oh, and that light behind you, yeah, she did that last night. I was staggered. I was
Brilliant.
You could have blown me down with a feather.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, yeah, that was insane. But yeah, apparently my nan said to her that if I didn't acknowledge her when she's doing this, she's going to start turning all the taps on. So I've made a note to say hello now when the lights are doing weird things. So
You should maybe have not acknowledged her to see if the taps would go.
that is true. No, my nan though, she would probably like smack me around the head though.
Was this your Scottish gran? Was this the one from Wishaw?
That's the one, yeah.
Oh, you would have got a scud over the ear.
Aye.
I think that's a slap round the head.
Aye.
A clip round the earlog.
Aye.
That's where
We used to get a scudger lug.
Skelt with a slipper. That's the other one. Or a kick in the beep. See, the swearing words out here, Sam.
Yes, I know.
She
I used to get told that I would need a dentist because I would get their foot kicked that far up my beak. That they would need a dentist to pull it out. Typical Scottish.
Yeah.
So you've kind of been running the paranormal for a long time then?
Yeah, and I would say that I've only recently started to see it as a hobby. It was 2019 actually when I started going on public investigations with various events companies. And it was one of those things that I thought I've always wanted to do it and just never really had anyone else in my life that wanted to do it. But then a colleague was up for it, and that was that then, and managed to get 3 locations done before COVID hit. And some of those have been amazing as well. Have you heard of Guy's Cliff in Warwick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of went in thinking, I bet nothing happens. It's just going to be a load of people saying that they've heard things or they've experienced things. So I'm quite, I believe, but I'm also skeptical. So if I hear a noise, I think, well, that could be anything kind of thing. And we were in the chapel. The whole group was in a circle, all linking hands. And there was a person or 2 people, spirits, in the circle that were walking around. You could hear their footsteps and you could pinpoint where they were.
Brilliant.
And I remember them coming closer and closer to me and my colleague. And I felt her hand just tighten on mine and her breath go like that because it just came so close to us. And it was though somebody came up to us, stood in front of us to look at us, and then they kind of walked off again. So things like that have kind of confirmed in my head what I've kind of always felt, especially when other people can corroborate it as well. So, and then,
so what's been your favourite investigation to date then?
I would say St. John's House in Warwick as well, actually. That was a really interesting one. I had strange experiences there myself. I had random photos put in my head, if that makes sense. It was really strange. it was the first area that we went in as a group, and I had this vivid picture, a black and white photo of a boy sat on a garden wall, but it was upside down in my head. And I thought, that's so weird that I've just thought about that. What is that about? I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Then in another area of that building, I had this sense that there was someone or something at floor level kind of crawling around. And I'm more educated now about spirits. At the time I did think demon, but now I know it probably wasn't. And the interesting thing about that was one of my friends went back to that location with a different events company that's run by...
Sorry, but Sarah looks weird.
I've only just noticed. What is going on? That's Forrest.
That's not Sarah.
Is Forrest at Scott and Sarah's house?
Yes.
Forrest! You little shit.
I thought it was a mannequin head for a little while because you were staying so still.
It looks quite scary to start with.
Did you not see my face, Scott?
Yeah.
I ran all the way. Forest, run!
Run, Forrest, run!
Hi, John.
I'm looking there and I'm like, that's no Sarah. And I'm like, hold on. Sarah looks weird.
I'm here.
I mean-
I'm in the Shire.
You micro-made it then.
I totally did, yeah. Just about. It's got a bit of a rattle, but we got there.
I'm absolutely shocked, shell shocked. But I also want to come down and just give you a big cuddle.
I don't want to cuddle off his arm.
Okay.
She'll never let you go. So we thought we'd bring Forrest up for Edinburgh.
Yeah!
Full body cuddles coming up.
So you'll be
Joe
seeing her
looks
tomorrow.
shell shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like all coming together.
Well,
It's like, it's mad to actually think this time tomorrow.
It was so difficult trying to keep quiet. Like, it's like, I want to tell Sam. No, don't tell Sam. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell
So,
anybody.
I'm sitting looking, thinking to myself, Sarah shrunk. What's happened to Sarah? And I'm looking at the screen.
It's a crossover.
No, she's-
We were just, do you know, it was perfect timing because John started telling the story about he thought something demonic was crawling around his feet. Then all of a sudden,
then there's
Forrest
you.
was kind of like, you know, the whole hair thing. And it's tiny in the corner, and I thought, what the is what?
I was like, that's no Sarah.
That is
And
quite
I'm like,
scary.
And I had to say,
That's
hold the
weird.
bus, that's no Sarah.
That was an A grade prank. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I done
was
that to
pretty
Scott a couple of months back. He was on a live and I
Did you?
swung his bedroom door open. Aye.
Oh, that's right. I was in the room on the live,
I'm Sarah.
and
Aye.
the bedroom door opened, and Sam popped her head round.
Why, Sam? Why do you think yesterday I said I had to prepare 7 folders?
Listen, I don't take any of that in. You told me it was for Grayson.
Aye, Gracie.
That's Grayson.
That's not Grayson.
Meet Grayson, everybody.
Gracie.
My God, Grayson, you've changed for the last weekend.
Exactly. I'm just going to say hello to Harry and Tito's Paranormal. Laura says, okay, that was a nice surprise. Laura, as everybody knows, is also on the team. She'll be joining us tomorrow. But no,
I'm coming.
we thought we'd bring Forrest up for Edinburgh, so she wasn't missing out. And
I'm coming.
so she
I'm
got
coming
here
down.
at 5 o'clock or something.
Yeah, we did it a good time.
Yeah, you done. Your wee mate could have belted up that M6.
You're sneaky.
Can I see that in this channel? Can I see you hit 81?
82.
I read you the rules when you came in earlier on. Did you not listen?
I did 16 miles an hour the whole way.
Exactly, 16 miles an hour. Don't see.
You're sneaky. I don't like that.
I have a 20-year-old Mike, and everyone's going to believe me.
Micros, see my first car was a Micro, and I had it for about 3 years. And see if I could have stretched it, I would have. Because we were expecting another child, so I had to get a bigger car.
I could run faster than mine.
I went all the way from Glasgow to Felixstowe in my wee Micro on the M25 with that. I'd only passed my test about a month. Right? On the M25.
Still have your empty.
Anyway, so Forrest here.
Yay!
I'm on it.
She's on it like a bonnet, or whatever the saying is. So, John, carry on your story. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, John.
Just interrupts, just turns up at your door. Just interrupts you.
I got to. Where did I get to? It was something crawling
Crawling around your feet.
That's the one. Yeah, so I felt that presence or whatever it was. And obviously I thought it was evil and all that stuff. Later on, my friend went back with a different events company that's run by a medium. And she got in touch with me and said, "Oh, John, just to let you know, that entity that you felt up in that attic wasn't anything nasty. It was actually a kid that shouldn't have been there. And another paranormal team had accidentally taken him there from Gisley Hall." I don't know if you've heard of that. And he should be back at Gisley Hall with his mum. And that's why you felt like there was a distressing atmosphere. So the medium apparently attached herself to him and took him back to Gisley Hall. So, yeah, when I heard that, I thought, oh, okay. So that would make sense why I felt it was really uncomfortable and quite distressing and at a kind of floor level, what I felt. So, yeah, it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you can actually mess spirits up a little bit if you're not careful as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
also, you've been around the paranormal most of your life. How has it affected your life? Has it affected your life in any kind of diverse way or whatever? Would you say your life totally changed because of it?
I think it's made me more maybe empathic overall, I think. And I've always felt like I can connect to people and read people really well. So I think it's definitely linked in with that. The best thing about it is that it's linking me up with people that also are interested in it as well, which is great. Yeah, because I've made some really good friends from the investigations that I've done as well. A couple of friends who are pagan as well, which is really interesting. Are you pagan as well, Joe? Or
Yeah.
oh, cool. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's really cool. So yeah, and then meeting everyone in paranormal in history as well. So I'm looking forward very much to exploring a bit more of Coventry and the surrounding areas with Forest and seeing where we can go and investigate and things. So that'll be really cool. I should apologise as well, actually, because Coventry actually held Mary Queen of Scots very temporarily on her way down to London, which I found out. So, yeah.
Have you got anything on the wish list, John? Anywhere to visit?
Where she was held, actually, is St. Mary's Guildhall. And I went there during the day on a Coventry history week, and it was fascinating. The whole place had such an atmosphere to it. And I really wanted to go back at night. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, I want to be here when there's no one else here. And experience it when it's quiet and dark. So St. Mary's Guildhall in Coventry is probably top of my list at the moment.
Guys, I'm sorry, I'm having a wee bit of difficulty here. I need to go for the wee minute. I'll try and get back on. All right, but I'm getting a wee bit of interference and things. All right, I won't be a wee second, hopefully. Sorry, John.
No problem.
What's she plotting? What's she plotting? Is she going to get a
You
special?
can't trust these Scottish people.
She's going to pop up.
I'm waiting for her to appear on your screen. That's what I'm waiting for.
If
Someone's
Derek
gonna
had called me pop up, I'm going to be really shocked.
Well, she's about 15 minutes drive for us, so
So
she's
if,
no back
so if
up.
he's not back on in 15 minutes,
There's a good chance she might be heading
I'm
for.
going to go out. I'm going to get back home. Sorry, miss me. Back next time.
So, I don't know who that is. That's somebody for your lot. Oh, brilliant. Can't wait to meet everyone. Who's that?
That's blooming Sam, that is. And she's, what do you reckon?
It may be Shirley.
No, Shelley's already commented.
Forrest is always suspicious.
First, you see the chocolate glucose?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Everybody needs a bit of drama.
Unbelievable. So, John, what's your opinion on all these kind of ghost shows and stuff like that? You know, obviously, we're not going to name any. Do you watch a lot of them? Do you get a lot of info for them? Or?
Yeah, I kind of get vibes from the shows, so I kind of pick and choose based on the vibes I'm getting from the people in them. But once I latch onto a show that I like, I kind of binge watch. So that was most of the end of 2020 for me, was binge watching on Amazon paranormal shows. It's tricky, isn't it? I think, to gauge what's real and what isn't when it's behind a camera and you're not there.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm always skeptical, and I always think I kind of believe that, but I'll reserve judgment until I'm with them. It's one of them. It's the camera. You know, it doesn't always tell the truth, but I think it's good to have a healthy dose of skepticism. Definitely.
I think you do. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that see something and believe it straight away. Or that, you know, they make up something in their mind that, you know, that's a ghost or that's a whatever, a fairy or, you know, whatever. But I think it's good to have that level skeptic. You say it.
Skeptical.
Skepticism.
Skepticism.
That's
Is that a
it.
word? Or have you just made it up?
Like what you just said.
Skepticism.
Skepticism.
I'm from the black
There you
country.
go. We were sort of there, weren't we? Together we got it.
That's no bad. There's 5 isn't together. You say Sarah's still here. There's 5 isn't together. We all made one word. That was good, isn't it?
GCSEs.
We all made a word together. You know what I mean? But no, I think it's important to have that level of, like what we just said, because it makes you want to debunk stuff. You know, it makes you really want to find out, was that real, or was it, you know, a branch breaking or a bird up in a tree or something, you know, something like that. So you do need to have that level of that word. I'm only going to try and say it again.
Skepticism.
That word. Sarah's still here in the background, as you probably heard. She's still there. That word. What was I saying?
It's good to be able to debunk stuff.
Aye, exactly, because there's too many groups and, you know, channels and all the rest of it out there that just, you know, go out and say, right, that's definitely a ghost. That's definitely an apparition, a noise. And when it's really no, it could be somebody in a group farting, you know, and they blame it on something else. Basically, you know, I'm just being totally honest. Would you think, Forrest?
Well, it's interesting you saying that, because if you start watching a series one of a ghost show and then compare it to season 19 of the same ghost show, there's a hell of a lot more in season 19, which to me just seems right. So they were boring at first, and you've just added a few bits in So I'm a bit of a skeptic as well.
They feel they need to ramp it up a wee bit because they're still doing the same kind of stuff. So they need, right, we need to add something, you know, on here. Have you ever had been in an investigation or had one of these "I'm never going back there" moments?
Yeah. It's a bit embarrassing as well, actually. At St. John's House, the same place I was talking about earlier, I had a hand on the inside of my thigh when I was sat in the classroom area of that house, and that really freaked me out. And I felt the hand, completely felt it. I got up, I went out of the room, and I just stood there kind of thinking, I don't even know if I want to tell anyone about that because it sounds so weird. But yeah, it was, that kind of made me think I don't want to go back there. And then they did this whole thing of that they thought it was somebody that saw me as a past lover or something, which that kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I thought I'm just not going to go back to that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, yeah. Very bizarre.
I mean,
Where was this, John?
That was St. John's House in Warwick. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go there.
She's off. She's going.
What was the postcode?
St. John's House in Warwick.
All right.
Opening times.
I'm coming back in a bit.
You off? She's getting her boots on and she's off.
See if it's open tomorrow.
There's your director, and you go for it. You enjoy. Knock yourself out. Know what I mean? See, she's off. Don't you think these shows make us pledge not believe these shows are not experiencing? Oh, she's back. That was quick.
Oh, sorry. He bought me a drink.
Don't you think these shows? What do you think, John?
I think if you're new to it all, I think I'm trying to put myself in that position. If I was brand new to paranormal and was watching these shows, I'd probably be quite scared of the paranormal. I think it may put a bit more fear into the equation for people than is actually necessary, if that makes sense. Because the shows, they're normally edited to be a little bit scary, aren't they, as well? So I think it kind of probably does help you believe in it if you didn't before, but maybe gives you a slightly fearful view of the spirit world, perhaps. I don't know.
They're always played up to be quite scary, aren't they? I think as well.
Yeah.
That kind of who they communicate with is, you know, some kind of scary, take you over, you know, poltergeist, hyped up kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're getting at with that one.
Yeah.
It's TV at the end of the day as well, isn't it? They need ratings, they need people to watch it. And if you watch some of the smaller shows on Amazon Prime, I find that they're really hard to watch because there's not really much happening, you know, and it's not edited well. So it just goes to show that the ones with money produce that, make that more scary. And the more real ones is like 8 hours of footage with 2 little things that could or could not be the spirits. So it's much more fascinating, I think, when you get out there and do it yourself, because you know it's happening and you know what you've heard, seen, smelled, whatever.
Misty's saying a lot of TV shows seem like they're putting on, especially the British ones. I agree with Misty. There's a lot of shows out there that they'll get to a location and within 3 minutes they're picked up and stuff. Something's happening. They've seen something. Some of it was less than 3 minutes. I remember watching one and it was like 30 seconds. They go to this location and bang, they saw this apparition of a monk. I thought, seriously, come on. It doesn't work like that. So, I mean, a lot of these shows, I think they're putting it on because they need to put it on because they want people to come back. I Anne Maria was saying as well, with Fledglings, with the shows. My opinion is that, you know, you get a lot of these shows and people are just new to paranormal, watch them, and they get this false impression that this is what it's like. And so they get, you know, a group of friends together and they go out on a ghost hunt and they're expecting everything that, you know, this TV show got. And they sit there for 6-7 hours and they get nothing. It gives them a false, you know, perspective on the whole kind of paranormal thing. That's just my opinion. That's Sarah's mum and saying, aye, that suit you, LL. I don't know. She was making fun of me earlier on this evening, so I take it that's another dig at me for some reason. I don't know.
Hi, Mum.
Then you all tar all of you with the same brush, which is, again, Missy's right, aye, because these people see these shows and they think the whole paranormal community is the same. And, you know, we're not, and then the other side of the coin is there's shows out there that, you know, I've got one in particular, and we have had them on quite a few times, that if they get nothing, they say they get nothing. You know, they'll do a whole episode and they say, you know, we get nothing, so we're going home. And that's it, end of story. Some people might find it boring, but to me, it's honest. It's letting people see, look, you know, the paranormal doesn't just switch on and off when you want it to. You know, as Jamie Christoffel says, they're no performing monkeys. You know, it's up to them whenever they speak to you or whenever they want to throw a brick at you. What do you think?
I was just thinking about graveyards and how Yvette Ghost Bitches seems to get loads of footage and things coming through a ghost box in cemeteries, and I've done cemeteries and I never get anything. So maybe the Aussies are just more choppy. I don't know. Maybe it's different equipment.
I'm with you on that one, Forrest. I find that it's very peaceful, but a lot of my belief on that is that your body is borrowed and your soul continues to live on. And just like John said, how I think it was your landlord's dad, you were living in his house. He then passed and he returned to the house. So his spirit had obviously returned to the house where you were staying, and didn't reside with his body. So his soul had moved on. So for me, in a graveyard, then they're not going to want to be there unless there's some kind of grounding connection that brings them to that place.
Yeah, when they go there, they're dead, aren't they? They're dead and they're taken there. So no energy is being put in that cemetery.
Absolutely.
Where they died. So I don't know.
Yeah, but that's you know my view on that one. And everyone that I've been to has always been, you know, quite just peaceful, and it's just an old like when we did the live from the 13th century church. Didn't feel anything, and there was all those years and years of people, 400 years worth of people laid to rest there. Nothing. So yeah.
See, now there's one in Shrewsbury called, I think it's something like St Mary's of Battlefield, and that church and cemetery is on a battlefield. I visited it in the day. Ooh, wouldn't that be interesting, John? Let's pop up Shrewsbury and go to the battlefield cemetery where people have actually died on that land. Where there's interesting. That's like a little scientific experiment in my brain.
Yeah.
Do that. You know, about an hour away or something, John. Is that right for Forest?
Yeah, it sounds good. My boss lives in Shrewsbury, so we'll try and avoid him.
We'll get some eggs, John, and we'll go past the house.
So if you're John's boss and you're watching this, just a disclaimer that if anything does happen to your house that does include an egg, it was nothing to do with paranormal in history.
Not at all.
It was just a massive pregnant seagull or something flew over.
Did Georgia say a massive pregnant seagull?
She did. She's a massive pregnant seagull.
Oh my God.
Dropped its egg. Your house doesn't get eggs. You know, the bird laid the egg, you know. Come on, work with me.
I think I'm a bit worried about you there, Joe.
On this.
Forrest is with you, so that, you know, that's what counts, you know.
I think we need
Personally,
to
I don't
hire
have any kind of opinion on
I
that
think we
one.
need to hire a team psychologist.
I thought that months ago.
I volunteer.
I'm watching the clock, waiting for another face to appear on your camera. That's what I'm watching for.
The door, like,
She's been away for more than, well, roughly about
But
50.
she's having technical issues.
Aye,
Mm.
text that.
Our cameras went off for me.
Right, okay.
Oh, my dog.
I'm going to brace myself. I'm going to get.
So, John, what's your opinion? I know, you know, a lot of paranormal groups, we've done it ourselves as well. They always seem to kind of focus on graveyards and old ruins and what have you. What do you think is kind of like the best place to investigate? Would you go along with the graveyards and the ruins, or do you have some other kind of view?
I reckon buildings that were used for something with a lot of history, I think that's probably where the most activity is going to be. And also battlefields as well. I reckon there'd be a lot of residual energy on a battlefield. And people have reported hearing the motions of a battle going on around them before. That's always really interested me, like the residual hauntings as well, where it's kind of a replay in time. That's what I think happened with the stairlift incident at my dad's house. I think that was a residual thing. It had been done so many times during my grandma's life that it just replayed. So I think things like that are really interesting. So yeah, just really historical buildings where there's been loads and loads of activity and it's gone on for hundreds of years. I think those are the best places, really.
I mean, you get a lot of, there's room, you know, it's reported that Culloden, up near Inverness, you know, is very active and you get a lot of kind of battle noises, even like Chester as well. I mean, that dates back to Roman times. There's, you know, there's reports down there as well of seeing Roman soldiers marching and hearing kind of like battle noises and what have you. But I mean, we've done quite a few lives and we've spoke to a few people about sounds an expiry date, for want of a better word, on spirits. You know, because people have asked me before, why do you never see spirits of cavemen and dinosaurs and, you know, that kind of stuff? And I know a lot of people kind of wonder the same thing. Have you ever wondered that?
I have, and I don't know if I've got an explanation for it. I'd imagine that there's a time when spirits move on to the next stage, and I suppose that that will always happen at some point, I guess. So that's why we don't get really ancient spirits. I'm happy to say that I don't know really. So.
So John, do you mean kind of like they have? I'm just trying to put this into a simple term. So kind of each era has a time slot, because a lot of the spirits that, you know, we proclaim to see come through as maybe Victorian times. So do you think that people of now, us as ghost hunters, as paranormal investigators, see this Victorian era because it coincides with our year, and then in 10 years time people will then see something else and then something else? Because I must admit I have seen quite a few different bits and pieces, but I've yet to meet a shell suit wearing 90s spirit yet. Haven't come across one of those.
And that's another thing, it's recent spirits as well. You don't really get them, so I'm happy to say I don't know and can't really explain it or come up with a decent theory even, really.
But maybe it's so many hundreds of years between them or something, perhaps. There's a...
I've got a theory.
Let's say it.
This is my brain, so excuse me. But, you know, when you have pubs that are built hundreds of years ago and the road is halfway up the pub where the road and the earth has gone higher and higher over time. Yeah, making sense? right?
Yeah.
I know you're
Maybe we don't see dinosaur ghosts because they died down on those levels of soil and you can't see them. The roads covered them, the land covered them, right? So you know, like you get floating ghosts because they used to walk along a house that's not there anymore. So I reckon when you see something scurry across the floor, it's probably not a cat, it's probably the top of a T-Rex's head.
It's a good
It's-
theory.
That's actually quite a cool theory, but it's actually quite funny too. But that's actually quite cool.
That just popped in there.
It sounds absurd, but you know, I know it's in Chester again. Roman soldiers have been seen with the knees up. Have been reported to be seen marching with the knees up, but obviously back in Roman times, the road was a lot lower. So if there's a residual haunting, they're still walking on the original road. So they will just appear to the knees up or whatever. Same as ghosts can walk through walls. The theory is that maybe there was a doorway at that wall sometime, and that's the spirit still walking through. So it might sound absurd, but Forrest is saying, but if you look at it that way, then who's to say it's no feasible? I'm not saying it's true. Just saying it's possible. It's like everything else in the paranormal. It is possible.
Well, you dig stuff up. You dig fossils up. You dig dinosaur skeletons up from way down there in the earth. I'm just thinking, well, if they died down there, we're not going to see them, are we?
No,
That's going to be their place.
Don't know.
Mrs. saying that makes good sense. It does make sense. The old bit, a ghost can walk through walls, and that's simply why they can walk through walls. So, what's your views on? I've said many lies. I'm not a gadget man because I'm as thick as mince when it comes to gadgets. Everybody knows that, I think. What's your views on all the gadgets and stuff? Do you put a lot of faith in them, or do you find your senses are the best kind of thing to use?
I'd say senses are the best thing for you personally to use, but I think for evidence capturing, the tech is where it's at, I think. And it seems to have come on a really long way as well. Some of the equipment I've seen used just seems phenomenal, and some of the words that come out and names that are accurate for the place that they're in. It's too accurate for me to ignore. So yeah, I'm quite a supporter of all the tech side of it.
And you get any kind of particular favourite that you?
Quite like. I forget all the names because there seems to be different boxes with different names, but I really like the ones that put out the big blast of noise, and then you'll occasionally get snippets of something amongst that. I like those, and they seem to get interfered with as well. Before a word comes out, you can kind of hear it crackling a little bit as if someone's trying to use it, which I really like. So yeah, things like that I love, definitely. Yeah.
You told me the spirit box where it's kind of like a constant static noise.
Yeah, and there's like a massive one as well that I've seen used that they put on the floor. It looks like a speaker from an old 90s stereo or something, and the noise that comes out of it is quite scary actually, because it's like and it just fills the whole atmosphere up. And I've seen some really fascinating things come out of those on some of the shows I've watched anyway. It'd be good to actually be around them in person. That's kind of where I'm at with him.
I think I know the bit you're talking about. It looks like an old speaker. I think it was used at Codnor Castle.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is that the one you're talking about? I know the show you're talking about. What about you, Joe? I know you've been with us a wee while, but what's your view on all the gadgets and bits and bobs?
When I do investigations, I try and use as little technology as I can. Only really for I trust my own intuition and my own instincts more than I trust a K2 or a spirit box or anything like that. I do think that they can be quite interesting. And again, as John says, perhaps if you need something backing up with something, that they can be really beneficial for that purpose. But I mean, I've got my two little. You might be able to see them. They did the 13th century church with me. I've got Jacob and Kerry in the back. I have, yeah. Where are we going tonight? Right, we're going up at the dark hill. But no, so and Keris had never used any equipment or anything like that before, and she had the K2, and it was so easy to explain to her when you put it so close to a phone, you know, that the lights could flicker. So we had to take her phone off her for her then to make sure that either the K2 was 2 meters away or she was 2 meters away with the K2, so that it wouldn't interfere. So technology for me is a hard one. I think for anybody that knows what they're doing, it's a dragon's den opportunity, because there's so much money that could be made from it, because you can pretty much use anything. And again, we talk about cat balls. You've got to love them, haven't you? You've got to love a set of cat's balls for a start off. They're cheap enough. And if there's just a couple of you in the room, we did have one that we were meant to be using on that investigation, but I dropped it down a hill and we couldn't find it.
As you do.
If you put one, and I was showing how much it bounces, and we were on a hill. So if you put it one end of the room and it starts flashing, don't! It wasn't even for stupid. I told you. There you go. I knew.
Hey, what's there?
Just while they're having a bit of a love, technology is great. I think, John, I'm with you. If you need something reinforcing or backing up, I trust my own intuition every time. But on that note, guys, I am going to go because I have a crazy early get up in the morning, and I still haven't quite finished packing.
Oh, don't I understand that one?
Where are you off to? You're somewhere nice?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah. I've heard of this really quite cool paranormal team who are supposedly filming their promotional video and their first episode of a place in Edinburgh called The Darkest Mile. But what these guys are doing is that they're not actually concentrating on the places that have been so highly populated by tourism. They're looking at the places that you would walk past and wouldn't even know that had some kind of connection to paranormal. So I am going to go and find out what it is they're actually doing. I'm going to bring a little bit of England to the PIH Scottish team tomorrow and educate myself in the whole world in more ways than one. Never been to Scotland before, ever.
Ever? Never?
I think I crossed the border once and came to a farm park, but it wasn't really. They didn't really talk very Scottish, so it was. I don't really think it was much of
They want you to Glasgow then. If you want to hear somebody really Scottish, you need to come to Glasgow. Otherwise,
I'm coming arms with my Google Translate. I think I might need it.
I'll translate for you. It's fine because I speak Scottish.
Okay, the news.
So I'll be able to translate for you.
It's sad when she goes. She's so fast.
You just turned up.
I know. Right. So I'm going to check out this really amazing team tomorrow. You might have heard of them actually.
No.
Are you sure?
You come.
I think if you just stand up a little bit, Scott. If you just stand up a little bit, Forrest, just stand up. They go there. Yes, that's them. That's them. There they are, the Paranormal in History team. That is us. So yeah, that's where we'll be this time tomorrow.
That was a really good plug, Joe. Well done.
Okay.
Just say what you mean, Joe. You know what I mean? We'll let you go and get packed, though. We'll let you go and get packed, and
Sneak.
we'll wrap it up there. Anyway, John, we'll hold on to you for a wee minute or two, buddy. Don't you disappear, because I think Sam wants a word. She's just turned up.
Bye.
You see you soon, Joe.
Bye.
So we'll just hold on to you, John. So thanks everybody for coming in. As Joe says, we're off to Edinburgh tomorrow afternoon to start filming our Darkest Mile series, which we're all pretty excited about. We've been, seems as if we've been waiting months to get out and get stuff done. So finally the time's here that we can get out and get it started. Jamie Christopher's going to be in it all the way from start to end, the whole series. So we're buzzing about that as well. We've managed to secure Jamie. But we're back on a live on Thursday, 9 o'clock. We have the film company CRA coming in, the cast and the crew from The Crumbs, and David Espinosa and Craig Arns as well. We're having a film quiz. We're going to ask film people about film, just something different, a bit of fun, and we'll see how much these guys really know about the industry that they're in. So, you know, hopefully we'll see you on Thursday at 9 p.m. So, to everybody in the chat, thanks very much for coming in, and we hope you enjoyed the live. Sorry, it's a wee short one tonight, but we've got stuff to get ready for tomorrow. Thanks very much, Mr. Cap, and we'll see you later on. So, take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.